January. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
I wonder why I can't hear you all of a sudden. I could hear you a second ago, and suddenly your mic's not working. Say something.
Should we start the fucking podcast again, you prick?
Yeah, I think it's all right. Just tell me your name. Tell me your name.
Listen, I'm recording it, so I know it's going to come out fine. My name is
let's
James.
hope so. There you go. It's not the first time it's happened where the first sentence doesn't come out. Who knows? Anyway, look, it's the end. It's not the end. We've got a game to go, but it's almost the end of Gameweek 23. We have one fixture today. Everton hosting Leeds. Come on, you Toffees. We need them
come on, you Toffees.
to win. Yeah, come on, you Toffees. We need Everton to win today. What a crazy game week. Not the most exciting in terms of point scoring. I don't know if there's a pod title with the number 1 in it somewhere, because 1 seems to be the most popular score for any player to get this week, James. I had 7 of them.
7 1-pointers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Correct, James. 7 1-pointers.
In your team?
Yeah. Do you count Haaland as 2 or 1? I captained him, by the way.
Okay.
There's a 1-pointer. Let's get into the drama of Saturday, James. And you need to explain to me what happened, because I was not online during that time. I had to go. I was at my jiu-jitsu club. They had a big kind of once every 6 months. There's a grading ceremony or whatever where everybody's down there and they're giving people belts and pats on the back and packets of Haribo. Well, not packets of Haribos, taking the piss. But I was offline from around about 11:15 until past deadline. And I didn't actually, it went overran, so I missed the first 15 minutes of the West Ham game as well. I was supposed to be done and dusted by 12:15 so I could watch the game. And it was gone beyond that. I didn't even know anything. It's obviously Haaland captain for me, Foden still in my starting 11. It was only when I saw your tweet later where I saw you had the armband on Ekatike, where I thought that's a bit odd that James has moved. Well, armband on Ekatike and Vice on Thiago, I think you had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was only then that I thought, what's actually going on here? And then obviously I saw the team drop for City with no Haaland, no Foden. And I put 2 and 2 together and assumed and understood that there had been a leak.
Yeah, basically. So we have to shout out Lazy FPL for those of us who had the information, because I'm fairly sure, I mean, that was the primary source of where the information came from, as far as I'm aware. So obviously, I normally would have been doing deadline stream, but was on my way up to Burnley on my phone about 10 minutes before deadline. Okay, Haaland and Foden not starting was the word. And Lazy FPL is very reliable for their information. So if you've got it, you've got to act upon that information. So I know never to take these things as 100%er, because stuff can happen. Someone gets sick on their way to the ground, but otherwise, their information has been very accurate previously on a multiple range of teams. So okay, we got our act on that. So I had put my team out by socials early in the morning, said, got a Erling, Foden, Haaland. My team may well change because I've got 3 Manchester City players sitting in there, but I don't intend to make a transfer, i.e. I'll just play around with this. Unless there's information that all 3 of these players are not starting, in which case I might have to do something. So, yeah, I benched Foden, left Haaland in the team, because for me it was a choice between Haaland and Malik Chow, basically. And I was already starting Rodgers. So I thought, well, if I'm to stay on an all-in strategy herein, then, I mean, the ideal, to be honest, for me, leaving him in the team, the 1-pointer was the best thing that basically could have happened. Against all those like yourself who'd obviously still captained him. But I thought, I don't fancy 90 minutes of Malik Chow to outscore half hour of Erling Haaland. So I thought, I'll leave him in. It will at least limit the damage a bit if he comes off the bench and does something. And left it be. I suppose in hindsight, I knew that I was going to go Foden to Bruno Fernandes this week and end up making the transfer on Saturday night. I probably should have done that before deadline.
Well, Foden to Fernandes.
But I didn't want Bruno Fernandes playing against the double
Yeah,
Arsenal
Look,
defense.
we talked all
So,
week about it was not the right move to make. Why does
So-
10 minutes before change it?
what I probably
Foden
should have
not
done, because I'll probably end up doing this week as well, is gone Gimares to Enzo Fernandez. Is probably what I should have done, but I've not been convinced on that transfer. There's a few other options that I'm considering in that midfield area. Obviously, I didn't have any Nico O'Reilly information, so it was like, where he's starting. So all I basically did was put Alderete in for Foden into the team. Made no difference. Took the captaincy of Haaland, went Ekiteke rather than Thiago. I thought both of those games would be low scoring in seriousness, but I thought, well, there's more chance of the Liverpool game going off than the Brentford game, which is what happened. Didn't foresee any reason why Ekiteke wouldn't start, personally.
Yep.
And that also didn't make any difference. So if I'd have completely missed the deadline, I'd have scored exactly the same thing this week, basically, mate.
Well, after laughing at my 7 1-pointers, James, just to remind you, you got 6. It's not much better. And you got Thiago there with a 2-pointer as well.
No, I've got 5, Suj.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Shit, I do have
5,
6. You're
6. Right. Okay. Lucky there's no counting involved in this.
Bloody hell.
So you're on 38 points all out. With obviously nothing in tonight's fixture. Is that a green arrow or red arrow? Red arrow.
No, it's
surely.
red, and obviously that'll get worse tonight because I've got no coverage of the game tonight. So it's, unless, I don't know, Tarkovsky and Diane Calvert-Lewin all go batshit, then it will be a bad red. But yeah, it's probably going to be dropped down to, I don't know, about 35k or so, I should imagine.
You've got 3 free transfers, just like me as well. So planning a big move or 2?
2 now. Bruno Fernandes went in for Phil Foden Saturday night. I don't like buying players before they've played, but if anyone's going to pass a game without an injury, it is most likely to be Bruno Fernandes. He's looked great since he came back. I knew I was doing that. It was effective kind of 0.3 swing on me if I let it go. So I decided to do that Saturday night. I knew that's the move I was going to make going into this week, and I had the exact money for it. I've got 0 in the bank now. So Gimares will probably go Enzo Fernandez consideration, Emi Buendia, Rayan if this transfer from Bournemouth goes through. I might go straight there. Ismail Assar, alternative Manchester United player. I might even consider Amad Diallo because I think Brian Bumo is going to be a struggle for me. So that's why I didn't want to kind of force into the transfer for Enzo Fernandez. I wasn't sure on it because I think I could easily come out a Wednesday night and be, I'm not sure if Enzo Fernandez is starting at West Ham. And I also know if I go Enzo, it probably means another transfer for me in Gameweek 28. Whereas I'd probably rather not do that. Because I hadn't made my mind up. The other one is probably Nico O'Reilly to bin as well. And where I go with that is quite impacted by what I do with a midfield decision, I think. So there's about 10 different players that could be in terms of an O'Reilly replacement. O'Reilly was one of 4 returners for me this week. Martin Dubravka 5-pointer was a nice choice over Bart for Bruggen. Harry Wilson's
also 5-pointer considering 2 goals. So
yes,
it's worked out quite
9
well.
Saves, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did really well.
Harry Wilson goal in the last minute was an 8-pointer to make it 10, and Morgan Rogers assist, clean sheet, and a DEFCON for 8. So yeah, all out for me, 38, bit shit, but we'll take it. It's not disastrous.
Well, I'm on 37 and all out as well. Just as rubbish as you, James, really. I had the vice armband on Ekitike, but thinking about it and looking at my team, I don't know if it's hindsight bias or not. Had I had the news that Haaland was out, I don't know. I wonder if I'd have put it on Jared Bowen, who was the saviour of my week this week.
Hold on, you couldn't wait to slam him out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. But then also, it's fair to react to what you're seeing with your eyes. And we've had 2 wins on the row. You remember the first 2 league wins, I should say. You'll remember the first well. And we also won at the weekend. And now he's got 2 strikers playing alongside him as well. I think it's making quite a big difference. I had Enzo's 8. Bowen's 12, O'Reilly 6, and nothing else. Granit Xhaka didn't obviously turn up. He turned up for a little bit of argy-bargy.
For an argument,
really football. So Alderete coming on for him makes not much difference from a point of view because everybody else on my bench is 1-pointers. And interestingly, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest impacts of the result on the weekend is maybe Granit Xhaka not being available, which I'm not complaining about at all, to be honest with you. So yeah, I've got 3 free transfers. I'm struggling with this, these price rises that are happening at the start of the week, which are so obvious, and like as in the template move is happening very early because people seem to want to move very early, and I'm like, I prefer to have a bit of time to weigh up the decision. So I haven't made the move yet. I've got money in the bank. My squad value is nowhere near as good as yours, though it's a little bit misleading when you think about selling value and buying value. But I can do Foden to Bruno Fernandes easily, and if there's another price rise happening, then I'll definitely be making that move. That still leaves me 0.6 in the bank. Bowen can stay for now. It's Chelsea away, but then Burnley away, Manchester United at home. I'm going to keep him. Ekitike obviously didn't start as well. I'm not sure what to do with him. If I downgrade Ekitike, Xhaka to Morgan Rogers gives me 6.9 to replace Ekitike. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that forward slot at the moment. 6.9, I don't really fancy Calvert-Lewin. Don't really fancy Thiago.
I'll be keeping Ekitike.
Yeah.
Unless something happens Wednesday night in the Champions League to change my mind.
They're not great though, Liverpool, are they? If I went to Thiago, then I would consider getting rid of Lacroix and bringing in Dorgu, but then I'm on 2 hits, so I'd have to wait for that for a little bit because
they're not great. They might have a different manager at the weekend.
Palace,
Liverpool.
Oh, okay, yeah. I did see some
It's only speculation at this moment, but
murmurings.
There is some stuff going around that it's not going to be a surprise to me if they pull the plug.
You'll be very upset if they get a new manager for you, eh? Is there a lot of pointing? Was there a lot of pointing in?
There's no point
in at the weekend
talking about it. Although I did very much approve of the chant in the away end at the weekend. Thomas Frank, your football is shit, which is almost better than actually saying we want Frank out. But oh my God, was he getting it in that second half?
Yeah, I feel for him a little bit. No one wants to be being shouted abuse at by.
No, I don't want to shout abuse at someone either. But the football club's not listening, so people are having to take matters into their own hands now.
Yeah. He's still in a job. Excuse me. Alrighty, let's go through the games. And when we go through the games, James, we'll obviously highlight teams that may be of interest and players that may be of interest as well. Right, where should we start? West Ham 3, Sunderland 1.
I think you're absolutely right. So you kind of nailed it. The Xhaka absence. I said I was travelling to Burnley and the panic it was causing in the Sunderland channel. They were like, we've lost. I mean, that's a bad place to be before playing West Ham.
I mean,
one player missing, we've lost.
Yeah, I think yes and no. Like, it's not as dramatic as had Xhaka played, they could still also have lost because West Ham, we did play really well in the first half, controlled it. I thought Sunderland were poor, They really didn't offer much at all in terms of threat. Very, very passive. Very passive. Of course, if you had Xhaka there, the leadership is definitely going to help and he's going to get him G'd up a lot more.
Yeah, they weren't right.
But he can't play for everybody. He can't kick the ball for the 10 other players on the pitch. They weren't, but also credit to West Ham, right? With second game in a row where we've seen 2 strikers playing up top, Tati up top and Pedro in behind. Somerville is now 3 in 3, but also maybe 4 in 4 if you count the disallowed goal. So obviously it doesn't count, but he's showing that he's in amongst the end of the game, suddenly really lively. And number 18, Matty Fernandes, he's boss now. He's excellent. Not having Paqueta there, he's taking responsibility for being the main man in that team. West Ham were good. It doesn't really help because Forest went and won. Leeds will probably pick up points again today and we're still miles off. But yeah, decent from West Ham. I wouldn't be diving into
result yesterday has deflated you, hasn't it?
No, it hasn't because we made up 2 points on you, and if we're going to catch anyone, it's you, not them. All I'll say, James, is after we lost to Wolves, the narrative at the time was that Wolves are now closer to us than we were to Forest in the table. We're now 12 points away from Wolves and only 5 away from Forest and Leeds. And it's still 8 against you guys, but it's a lot less than it is from Wolves to us. So it can change. And we have shown that we have the quality to be able to. Whether or not we will, completely different ball game, right? Let's not forget, Forest play Leeds pretty soon. Do you know what game week it is? I think it's in a few weeks. Yeah, so that obviously, they can't both win that game.
And Leeds after tonight, they're 4 fixtures across the next 5 other than that game with Forest. Is Arsenal at home, Chelsea away, Villa away, Man City at home.
We play Leeds on the final day of the season as well. So if it's within a couple of points up until then the hope is still there. But yeah, it's still ticking along, I would say. It's not like exciting, but still ticking along. Jared Bowen's still doing all right from a West
Before
Ham
we
point of
cover
view.
a couple of fancy little bits, can we have a shout out for the moment of the weekend?
Oh, the ruck between Alderete and
Mavropanos.
Or
Honestly,
are you going to say Xhaka trying to ruck the crowd?
No, it's that. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. It's absolutely hilarious. Fernandes is trying to score one of the goals of the season. It's his shot even better than the one that he scored.
Yeah.
Smashes off the underside of the bar. And them two aren't even looking. They're just like butting each other, not facing the ball. And suddenly the ball's bounced like next to them. And like, what's going on?
One of them could have just
so good.
One touch to knock it in. Idiots.
Look, you've got Chelsea away this week, so couple of really good results. But from a fantasy perspective, I don't suppose you're going to go and run to West Ham assets. I think Fernandes and Somerville are both really worth monitoring. Somerville's having a little streak. That's a great headed goal that he gets. So it's not the sort of goal you would say, oh, that's the goal I envisaged.
I think it's his first ever headed goal, he said.
Is that right? Well, I mean,
and Matty Fernandes also said it's his first goal from outside the box. I don't know if he means for West Ham. I'm sure he means for West Ham because I'm sure he would have scored from outside the box.
He leapt really well. The big narrative that will come out of this from the West Ham perspective is Bowen Tatum and scoring a penalty. Although he does part slip even when he scores. I don't think he's the most confident doing it. But he's probably on them now. We're assuming Paquetá's going to go. So Bowen as a penalty taker, I'm sure that's going to make his expected points week on week a little bit more than what they've been showing. After the Chelsea game, there's a few games there where you will hope to pick up some points. For Sunderland, the Xhaka miss was big. For those who own, I don't think you shit yourself about it because he's travelled to the game. So I'd presume it's not bad and he just couldn't quite make it. For the defensive ones, for many of you, you're going to want to play it this week because it's Burnley at home.
Yeah, I've got Alderete bust in for me.
Sunderland's home record is much better than their away record. It's well documented. And Brian Brobby might offer a solution to people this week. I can foresee, say, Ekateke owners frustrated, looking, all right, I want to downgrade, but I don't really want to come all the way down to like a go, say, if you've particularly already got Crew for example.
Or something, yeah.
Going Thiago doesn't feel right. You go, oh, I could go there and maybe that gets me up from a Gimrez area to a Bumo on top of, say, Fernandes. I can see that sort of move becoming maybe more attractive as the weeks move forward. So, as discussed last week on Robbie, the minutes are now looking really good. He scored 3 and 4. They're a decent side. I think you would look at that more as a one-off really bad day rather than a real concern for what's left for the rest of this season. The only problem is, if you do want to invest in them, it's Burnley at home next, but then it's Arsenal away afterwards. So, like with Brobby, you're like, oh, that don't feel great the week after. I get
and then
that,
Liverpool after that. I mean, it is a stadium of light, but I think they're benchable though, right? You're not buying Sunderland players necessarily.
Liverpool stadium of light, it's fine, man. Liverpool probably
current form actually, true. Yeah, true. But then after that, Fulham, Bournemouth, Leeds, Brighton, you can play in a lot of these games. So more often than not, for me, my Sunderland assets, so I've got 2 at the moment, Alderete and Xhaka, are rotatable. So if that's the case with Brobby as well, then all good.
Alderete I will probably play this week, I would imagine, at home to Burnley. There is circumstance where I make certain transfers and I go, actually, no, it's not right. How would you feel about playing Alderete over, say, Thiago this week? Thiago goes to Villa.
Ooh. It'd be tempting. Not going to lie.
Yeah, but you haven't got any Villa defence. Thiago's still got pens, hasn't he? Alderetti's not been great for Defcons recently.
I would probably default to favour the attack, just play the attacking player. I would probably default to that, but it is tempting.
Yeah, I think there's a decision for me where that's going to end up being quite close towards the end of the week. What about a Sunderland defender? Any Sunderland defender versus Harry Wilson away to Manchester United?
United have been better the last few games, though, and because it's at Old Trafford, because it's at Old Trafford, I think I'd probably play Alderete.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm a fixture head. I don't really want to be benching players when they're playing Burnley. Segue.
Yeah.
Segue.
Alrighty. Let's talk about
Segue.
Burnley 2, Spurs 2. Your centre backs keep scoring. That's about it.
Yeah, my centre backs keep scoring. That's good. Yeah. My centre backs, one particular one, is giving me the raging ump. He might have saved us, and the headed goal is, I mean, what a header that is. It's mental how the angle he gets on it from where he's at.
Power. Yeah,
it's crazy. But
the ball helps. Great ball in. The ball does help.
His performance as a captain is disgraceful. And I'm gonna save it for Tottenham tomorrow, mate. Tottenham would be well within their rights, I think, and it will get frowned upon. People will go mad. Tottenham should be looking to sell Christian Romero in the summer. I've said this a few times to you recently. Him as a leader, he's having a real bad negative influence on the rest of that football team at the moment because he walks around like he doesn't give a shit. And
okay, I was going to say, is he stroppy? Is he throwing his arms up in the air, or is he just meh?
When you see him getting into the penalty box, and he, to be honest, he should probably just play as a number 9, and you see how he attacks the ball in the penalty area, like, what are you talking about, James? Yep, I totally agree with you, but watch him on that Burnley second goal. Watch it. I'm going to say no more about it. Watch him. Burnley should have won the game. Don't be fooled by the statistics and whatnots. And I totally get it. Dubravka's made 9 saves, and on a different day, we win this game comfortably. Totally get that. But in Burnley, I saw a side that's limited in terms of quality, that had a structural idea of how they wanted to go about trying to win the football match, and they abided by it. They are, I think, at this moment, the worst team in this league. I think they're worse than Wolves at the moment. That's
not counting yourselves.
Okay, let me retract somewhat. No, they are, but it's down to quality of personnel. There's no lack of effort or endeavour from them or anything like that. They're just well short, unfortunately, and Wolves have been better recently. That said, their last 3 games have drawn with Manchester United, Liverpool and Tottenham. Yeah,
they've not been getting slapped at all this season. I don't ever remember Burnley like.
They were very unlucky not to win the game. It was so poisonous in that away end that I was more likely to go 3-1 than 2-2 towards the end of that game. I really thought Burnley was going to score again on the counter-attack. There is nothing to take away from that from a fancy perspective that appeals from Burnley. Honestly, if you're looking for enablers, the right answer is a different team. It's the truth at the moment. They don't have, it's Fulham away in 31. There isn't anything that makes it really appealing to go to them. They do have fixtures coming up, like West Ham at home, Brentford at home. Those are their next 2 home games, where to give themselves a shot, they've got to be taking maximum points from these. Must shout out Jack Toner, our Burnley correspondent, because if it wasn't for him, I might still be in Burnley. Not quite true. I'll tell you a story about it on Tottenham, but long story short, Jack got me out of Burnley.
Okay.
Him and his parents got me and my dad in a car to Preston. Don't worry, it wasn't kicking off. It was a bit of a train problem. And something very much worked out in my favour. So, Jack, if you're listening, thank you, mate, because you got us home at a sensible time and we wouldn't have done so otherwise. So I thank you, my friend. Unfortunately, mate, you're still fucking going down. My team might be joining you if it doesn't act very, very quickly. I said that those who went to Tottenham assets would get the Gameweek 24 and want to sell. There is no reason to be looking at Romero and Van der Ven's goals and thinking this is okay to keep them. An absolute sell. Manchester City, Manchester United, Newcastle, Arsenal, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Liverpool. That's Tottenham's run between now and game week 30. If Tottenham fans don't think they're in a shit, need to get the head out of the sand. This is very quickly fixable. Anybody who watched Manchester United yesterday could tell you that. He's going to manage the team at Frankfurt on Wednesday. I think he'll manage the team on Sunday. And if those two results go badly, then surely, because this is getting ridiculous. It's beyond position untenable with the fan base. I saw Sam Cornish, who's a Tottenham fan, he's a photographer who goes to games. He put out a tweet, Frank in or out, 94% out. I suspect the 6% are fans of other teams.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I've never known anything like it where it's just everybody agrees. I also, as I said to you last week, I don't have a problem with him doing the game with Frankfurt. It's probably our best chance of getting a result. It doesn't matter what team he picks against Man City. We're like, oh, you always beat Man City. Yeah. Listen, let me tell you, by the way, as well, any Tottenham fan that's going to that game thinking they'd rather Manchester City to win, I don't understand you. We are in way too much trouble to be thinking about anybody else at the moment with the fixtures we got coming up. We need points. We need them quickly. We probably only need 4 wins to stay up. How many games are there to go, Suj?
15.
We've won 2 in 14. Even Ange, giving up in the league season last year, never had 2 wins in 14.
Yeah, it's compressing a little bit at the bottom, and yeah, you're right, because you could go 4-5 if you go 4 games without a win now in the league, which is possible based on the other teams you're coming up against, and even if there's 4 or 5 points, as soon as you're within 4 or 5 points at the bottom, the pressure will be there.
He's
got a good run in. Excuse me.
Stuck with the back 3, and you'll know because I'd said it to you on Patreon and other bits last week. Full credit to Frank for his selection against Dortmund. He stuck with a very similar system at Burnley. It was blindingly obvious for the majority of the game that it needed to change. It stayed that way for about 80 odd minutes before it changed. Yeah, okay.
All right, let's talk about
game.
Fulham 2.
Here for fantasy.
Fulham 2, Brighton 1. A late Harry Wilson winner. Harry Wilson's been such a good fantasy asset this season, but with the whole contract situation and stuff, I just don't know if I'm ever going to get to him now. I still would like to 6 million.
Across the next 4 weeks, we've got Manchester United, Manchester City, and Sunderland all away. Like, well, that's awful, isn't it?
It's
and
not dive-in time.
Everton at home is not the best fixture in 25 either. So
no, but they see the doctor on the Gameweek 28. So
Gameweek 28. Listen, anybody who's gone Enzo Fernandez is going to be looking at Harry Wilson in Gameweek 28 if you don't own.
Tottenham,
Chelsea
then West
go to
Ham.
Arsenal, and Fulham go to Tottenham, because that Fulham run 28 to 31, which I know a lot of people are potentially going to dead end to. You Tottenham, West Ham, Burnley at home, and Nottingham Forest away.
Decent, yeah.
Right, hello. So, yeah, for me, that's I'm not bothered about the next few weeks, but he'd definitely be going back in for me in Gameweek 28 as long as he's still at the club. Marco Silva's told us 100% he will be. So he sits there, and I either play him or I don't play him. Across these fixtures, not fussed at all. Also got huge value in him now. I bought him at 5.2, right? So he went in as an effective 8th attacker. And he's now sitting there as a 6 million asset that others aren't going to go and buy in the meantime. So Fulham defensive assets possible for me this week as well.
Joachim Andersen?
Yeah, the problem I've got is the worst week for me in terms of potential players with bad fixtures is 26. And they've got City away, so that doesn't help. But I know that I'm probably going to end up with Anderson one way or the other between 28 and 31, I think. The fixtures are great. He's reliable for DEFCON. Cuenca's stayed in the team for this one. Actually, he's been doing quite well for DEFCON over the last few games, and he might be ahead of Calvin Bassey now. Lewis James told us 18 months ago it would end up like this. It's taken a long time, but you couldn't go him. Robinson doesn't offer enough in terms of actual goals for a fancy output asset for me, as far as I'm concerned. Right back, Castagne's got favour over Tete. So if you wanted a Fulham defensive, it has to be Anderson. If you wanted a midfielder, there's no reason to argue against Wilson.
Yep.
So Anderson might be one I go, okay, yeah, do you know what? I want to move on O'Reilly. But then I think about it and I think, well, just leave O'Reilly rather than make the transfer, because he might be more useful for me over these forthcoming fixtures than Anderson is. But it's a headache knowing whether he's going to play or not. Brighton are nowhere near my radar, though, Suj.
Well, they've been
Absolutely nowhere.
falling away quite a bit. Like looking at the table now, Fulham sneakily have got up to 7th and
But if
Brighton at
Brighton had won, they'd have
12th.
been 7th, wouldn't they? I think.
Yeah, I feel like based on where the teams have been recently, it should be the other way around. But it's so compressed there.
It's
From
so easy.
Chelsea at
Brighton won.
37 points all the way down to Bournemouth in 13th on 30 points. It is.
I mean,
very
the Welbeck
compressed.
offside is ridiculously tight.
Four
He's
big
also
chances they had.
Yeah, he's also had a really good headed effort in the second half as well, which, unless it's straight above Leno as it is, he's got no chance with. So I think Brighton on a different day would have won this game. You'd be looking at them fine. But I want to say they're 2 wins in 11 or something, I think, Brighton. It was a really interesting statistic where they didn't win in December, and they didn't win in December the season before either, which is mad because it's the month with the most fixtures.
Yep.
So Minton will probably come back in the team now if anyone's still sitting with him. It's a decent fixture at home to Everton this weekend. But yeah, Brighton are not on my radar at the moment. I always feel like they're going to rotate the team as well. Like injuries actually begin to clear up, it feels a little bit to me with a few players returning. Yeah, Brighton are miles from my radar for fantasy. And for Fulham, it's only really Anderson and Wilson. And if you don't own, it's not the right week to invest, I don't think. It's Fulham wants a big circle round Gameweek 28.
Yep. All right, Man City 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. I watched the first half of this, James, and it was super comfy, to be honest with you, for Manchester City. I did think Wolves might put up a little bit more of a fight, but City did seem pretty in control of the game. They didn't offer much at all, Wolves, which was unsurprising. Why was Pep so mad with the refereeing afterwards or something?
Because
that VAR.
I've forgotten the
Marmouche one.
The fella's name. It was I think it was his first referee appearance. Interesting that his first Premier League appearance was refereeing Manchester City, by the way. But yeah, fair play to the lad for sticking to his guns, because I don't think VAR should be getting involved in that. He's not like 100% stonewaller, so just let it go.
The Marmouche one.
Yeah. Don't get involved. Well done to the lad for sticking up for himself. Or at least believing in his convictions of what he saw in the first place, or believing in his own decision. Good. Well done. There was one in the Palace-Chelsea game yesterday where I'm pretty sure Darren England didn't want to overturn the decision, but he did it anyway. I think O'Reilly owners, I think we got a bit lucky. Because I'm not sure if he'd have played if Matthias Nunes wasn't available. He was obviously back. And I think that had a consequence that might even be positive for O'Reilly again moving forward. Maybe that Matthias Nunes is back. Nunes is the one if you wanted to go there between the two.
He had a price drop as well, did Nunes?
Well, because he'd not played in the Champions League or at Manchester United, had he? So he's finished this game on top bonus. His returns have been pretty consistent, Matthias Nunes. So that's 2 11-pointers in the last 5 weeks, or 3 11-pointers in the last 8 weeks, depending on how you want to look at it. And double pointers from defenders. I mean, if you offer me a defender who's going to get 3 double pointers in 8 game weeks, I'm going to take that. There's an 8-pointer in there as well. So
would you chase
really
it?
Consistent. No, not at all. No, I don't think so. I think with City as well, despite the fact that they play my team this week, it's Liverpool away the week after. I think you look at 26-30 and it looks outstanding for them. But also you look with a consequence of knowing they'll probably blank in 31, right? So that free hit would probably advise against for 31. So
two of City's top 3 highest point scorers in FPL, James, haven't even been at City this season. Semenyo and Gahey have slotted right in. It's crazy. They're also the two behind Haaland, the 2 highest owned City players in fantasy, which has all happened in the course of the last week and a half, 2 weeks, which is crazy, isn't it?
I mean, for me, for those who bought Mark Gay at like 4.5ish or so, it's an absolute dream.
Yeah, it's 5.2 now, 111 points so far. What a steal.
Yeah, he's not worth running after at 5.2, but if City have doubles in the second half of the season, he's going to be really popular. He's a threat from set plays. Obviously,
it's not much of a jump though, James. 5'4". So you got O'Reilly's 5'1", Gahey 5'2", and Nunes 5'4". I'd probably stretch it to Nunes if you could, right?
Yeah, but you are coming into a period where I think you're conscious of rotation for players generally. And Mark Gay If you said to me now, Mark Gay will start every game in every competition between now and the end of the season, I would not be surprised.
Yeah,
He's a top
it's that
defender.
good.
Whereas
Yeah.
Nunez, you are going to have certain
It's going to be
worries at
looked
certain
after.
points.
Yeah.
Kusanov could play right back, and that's not really been an option for them. So I'd say probably yes to Nunez, but if you want peace of mind, it's Gay. Ultimately, I don't think you chase either at this moment, personally. Despite the fact they're playing my team, you're probably more considering maybe moving on. Particularly, obviously, there's a circumstance of people who have got 4 or 5 assets. Foden to Fernandes is the easiest decision all season I think I've had. I think he probably is in the sell zone for me, Phil Foden. Haaland is not, as far as I'm concerned. There's not a moment here that I'm sitting here thinking, oh, this is now a problem. For me personally, there was never a thought for a moment of, oh, I'm going to take this 0.9 profit I've got on this asset in the game. I know he's been shit recently, but thinking of moving it on, none. He'll be getting the armband again at the weekend. I don't think that even comes into a Tottenham bias answer. I don't think the alternatives again this weekend are particularly strong. So Haaland will be getting the armband again. 25, there is an intention to take him on at the moment, but I'm very aware that Tottenham might have a different manager, and that could also make that decision awkward because the intention for me is Bruno Fernandes in 25. So no, Haaland will be back in the team. I'm sure he'll play against Galatasaray on Wednesday night. I don't know. Pep had said that he'd worked out what City's problem was prior to the game. His selection didn't tell me that that's the solution. I don't think we're looking at a scenario now. He's gone, I'm going to play Marmoush and Semenyo as like basically high wide players and not play a percent forward. He's not worked this out and gone, I'm never playing Haaland again. That's not what he's done here. So Haaland be back in the team. He'll be captain for me this weekend. Foden is expendable. Semenyo, I think, is a hold for people at the moment, but I think you do need to monitor it. Because obviously his minutes have been very strong because he couldn't play in the Champions League. What's the impact of that moving forward? I think his goal is sensational, by the way. That first touch is as good as the first touch you'll see from any player all season in terms of set to shoot. But Semenyo and Haaland, the only two that I'd be kind of keen to hold on to at the moment. Anything else I had, I'd be thinking of looking around. If I had Nunez, I'd be keeping. If I had Gay, I'd be keeping. O'Reilly, Foden, you're looking around, I think, aren't you? Do you feel any different?
No, O'Reilly is, well, we're going to talk about Crystal Palace in a bit. And I've got 2 defenders there in Maxence Lacroix and Nico O'Reilly, who both are at 5 million in terms of my value right now. And I feel like dealing with Lacroix is a bigger issue for me than dealing with O'Reilly. So maybe O'Reilly isn't my biggest defensive problem right now. But I don't disagree with you in terms of, if you haven't got anything else more pressing, like an O'Reilly to Anderson frees you up 0.4. There's something useful you could do with that. Sure.
I would definitely be keeping Lacroix over O'Reilly at this moment.
Yeah.
Lacroix might even be my solution this week, Suj. It's not impossible.
You're not watching Palace, James.
I am. I watched the game yesterday. And I'm watching who they're playing coming up in games appeals way more than what they've just had.
Are they playing your team or my team?
No, they're not actually.
Oh, that's a change. Right, let's talk about Bournemouth 6, Liverpool 1, James, but also Bournemouth 3, Liverpool 2. If you're looking at big chances and XG and so on, like I like to do before we record, you can't deny Bournemouth deserved a win here because they definitely created the better chances.
Did you watch this or not?
No, I didn't.
No.
Just highlights.
Same as me. I was in a car, thanks, Jack, trying to get back to Preston on the way back to London. So, no, we had our eyes on the scorer and stuff. Full credit to Bournemouth. It's probably shouldn't be coincidental that their only wins in the last 2-3 months or so have been against Tottenham and Liverpool by both scores of 3-2. I think it's a great result for Bournemouth considering they lost their player who's been their most informed player for me really over the last sort of 6 weeks or so, and that even includes before Semenyo left in Marcus Tavernier. He's obviously out for a while. So I did look at their bench and it looked much stronger against Liverpool than it did for the Brighton game on the Monday night. On the Monday night at Brighton, they were outstanding in the first half, but completely tanked for legs in the second half. It was grim watching the difference in intensity for them first half to second half. And when I heard Liverpool had gone 2-2, I thought Liverpool will win this now, is what I was thinking. Obviously, I wasn't watching the game. So then to see Bournemouth won it, That's great for them, and that psychologically will do them great moving forward. They've got some better fixtures coming up now. I think they begin to appeal for fantasy. Their run through now until the blank in 31 is Wolves away, Villa at home, Everton away, West Ham away, Sunderland at home, Burnley away, Manchester United at home in the blank. I think as a run, that's pretty good actually for Bournemouth. The problem is knowing where you want to go for their assets. So Senesi, you know what you get. It's reliable. He's a solution for me. One real concern for Senesi is that he's in the final year of his contract. Could someone put in a bid over the next week? Transfer window closed next Monday.
Yep.
I want to buy this week. If someone puts 20 million on the table for Marcus Senesi on Monday, they're going to have to think about it. That's a reality. That bothers me because he'd be a solution. He's 4.8. But James, what about James Hill? Because he's doing the same, isn't he? And for significantly cheaper. He's 3.9. He's now played 590 minutes in a row. His DEFCON returns in those games 13, 18, 11, 9, 11. It's good.
Decent. Yeah, decent.
Yeah. In terms of FPL returns, no clean sheet in now, but it's 17 points. Now, 3.9 coming into good fixtures. That's not terrible at all. I have one major problem with him, and it's the opposite to Senesi. Bournemouth might buy this week. And I am absolutely sick if I buy him for 3.9 and Bournemouth buy another centre-back on Monday. I'm sick because this is a wasted spot then to run through the blank. So
what's your thoughts on
one? If I consider him my solution, I probably want to wait a week. But I don't want to bloody wait a week, do I? Because they're playing Wolves this week.
Well, Senesi, let's take Senesi, for example, at 4.8. You've got Joachim Andersen at 4.6, who you've mentioned as someone that you're going to be potentially looking at, though maybe in a few weeks. You've mentioned Maxence Lacroix at 5 million, who's more expensive than Senesi as a potential solution. Where does he sit then in the kind of... Why would you pick Senesi at Bournemouth over Fulham or Palace based on the price points of those guys, do you think?
Because fixtures in the immediate is better.
It's just Wolves away. Villa.
But then Lacroix, for example, Lacroix is probably going to blank in 31. So it's like it's a good now, maybe gives me a problem, right? Anderson in the short term, shit, great 28 to 31. Senesi or Hill, if they stay in the team, actually good all the way through. One big problem with that is they can't keep bloody clean sheets. I mean, that's obviously worth noting. They haven't had one since Chelsea at home was a 0-0 draw. But they don't keep many, do they? Let's be honest.
And that shouldn't have ended 0-0 that
Looking
day.
back to find the last one, Nottingham Forest at home. So I think it's like one clean sheet since like game week 9 or so. But then particularly with Hill, if he's 3.9 and I'm using him as maybe as a substitute and he's just covering as and when I need, or say I want to play him at Burnley in game week 30, then I'm not expecting huge amounts for 3.9. And that also really appeals with them as well. I spoke about this on the Chip Strategy pod the other week. Game week 30 is a potential out for me for a bench boost. If we get in towards it and it's like, shit, you know what? It ain't going to be worth using a bench boost in the doubles. 30 I look at as an out. And Bournemouth had Burnley away in that week. And suddenly I'm looking at it going, oh, this is better. So that's why Bournemouth is playing on my mind. But Bournemouth I'd rather wait for, I think. I'm nervous about the transfer window with them. You wouldn't have those nerves, I don't think, if you're looking at Evan Nilsson. So Evan Nilsson is definitely going to get some traction now, right? There are forwards who are frustrating. People will be looking at this run of fixtures as just detailed and go, this is great. He scored in the last 3 home games. What's really interesting about that is they're all Big Six opponents. Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool. The goals against Arsenal and Liverpool have been absolutely laid on a plate for him by what people would consider probably the 2 best left-sided centre-backs in the league in Gabriel and Virgil van Dijk. The goal against Tottenham was a headed goal from a Marcus Tavernier cross, who is injured at the moment. Failing that, the goal that he scored before that was a goal in the 4-4 draw at Manchester United. You know when the last time he scored before that?
It's going to be quite a way.
It was at Tottenham in game week 3.
Oh, wow.
Evan Nilsson has scored 5 goals this season. They're all against Big Six teams. His record against weak opponents is shite. I don't know why.
I was going to ask you, why do you think that is? And you've answered the question.
It's possibly something in terms, but the thing that you can say, it's about intensity of game, and actually Bournemouth will go toe to toe with some of these opponents. Therefore, space is a little bit easier against some of these opponents. But Gabriel gave him like a through ball a couple of weeks ago, and Van Dijk has had two kind of brain fart moments in half a second against Alex Scott at the weekend, which means Evan Nilsson scores. So there's nothing you can look at that to go, this has happened because Bournemouth have created this, that, and the other. No, he scored a nice headed goal against Tottenham. That's very true. The goal he scored at Manchester United was a through ball played to him. United were all over the place at that point in the game. Brilliantly taken goal. Actually, very similar finish to what he got at Tottenham in game week 3. I'm just saying that I know, and I know this because there are times where it's like, Brentford at home, I want to say, was in a blank last year. Nothing. Leicester at home, was it Leicester at home last day of the season? A few people went there.
Maybe.
I think so. Blank again. Didn't he have a record where he'd scored like one goal at home in like 12 months or so? Mm. Now, I want to say they've got Wolves away this weekend.
Follow Evan Nilsson much, to be honest with you. He's not a player that appeals to me a lot.
Obviously, Wolves have changed managers twice since Evan Nilsson last went to Wolves, but I want to say he won 3 penalties in that fixture last season. Justin Kluivert scored a hat-trick of penalties, if I remember correctly.
I don't know if he won them all, but yeah, I'll take your word for it.
My point being on Evan Nilsson is if people want to go there, the timing is correct. He's a 7 million forward. He might be on a little bit of a streak. The underlying looks very good for the last 4 games, but that's because he's essentially had 2 open goals given to him in the Arsenal and Liverpool games. He is probably going to frustrate. But if you're like me in a fixture head, I don't mind it because of the teams with good fixtures of the forwards. He's probably the one to look at that's safest from a minutes perspective moving on. Therefore, I don't mind it. I wouldn't chase Amin Adli, who scored the winner, at 5.4. I am very intrigued to see this Rayan price when he comes in. Honestly, I might end up with him very quickly, Suj, for anything at 6 million or under. Not because I think he's going to be this, that, and the other. He just offers me the right solution from a fixtures perspective moving forward, and obviously goes in straight in as a differential that no one else is going to own either. I'll monitor it, but I don't know if I can buy him before I see him. That would be a general rule of thumb. Don't do that. But I'm fairly certain that he's going straight in this team, and if he can equate his record from what he's shown in Brazil to here, he's going to be very popular. He's essentially the Semenyo replacement. So keen to watch that.
Should we talk about Liverpool?
Liverpool fans would rather we didn't.
Shout out to Baker here, firstly, for captaining Salah, because whilst it's a maverick and wild move, and did look like that when he made the transfer, he outscored fucking everybody else, didn't he? So with a little bit of an odd free kick assist, but comes back with a 5-pointer here. And yeah, more than Haaland, more than Ekatike, more than Thiago, more than any of the other most popular captains at the weekend. It was interesting hearing him talk about the drive to make the move to go to Mo Salah out of boredom, or trying to, but boredom is the wrong word. So creating fun in the game. I think sitting in a little place of like, it is, and I'm with him where I'm really unmotivated sometimes when I'm making transfers that are the sensible transfer to make, like Foden to Bruno Fernandes, which is absolutely the most sensible transfer to make. It just doesn't get me going excited, James, at all. I think I think we're getting towards that way. And I also think the early price rises don't help with that, because if they kind of dictate what the template move of the week is going to be, more often than not, the template move happens early in the week. And then you end up in all right, fine. That's the sensible thing to do. Selling Nico O'Reilly and getting Joachim Anderson because I'm going to get some DEFCONs. Yay! It's just really unexciting. Do you know what's exciting more?
Do things in the game that you do want to do.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's why I like the move to Salah. I think the selling Haaland is more scary than buying Salah, because that's less of an issue. Like, you can move a player on, right? But getting back to an Erling Haaland might be more difficult. But for example, for me right now, we talked about Jared Bowen earlier. Owning Bowen now is more exciting than anything else because suddenly he's a differential that might do well, still the third highest scoring forward, than going and getting Bruno Fernandes. Would I rather own Bowen right now or Bruno Fernandes? Well, from a points point of view, it's probably Fernandes. But from a fun point of view, it's definitely Jared Bowen.
Mate, you said that 2 weeks ago and was like, I can't wait.
I was ready to bomb him off.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But we also have to remember that this is after West Ham put in one of the worst performances of the season against Wolves. One of the worst. And then you saw us last week and you saw us in 2 subsequent games and obviously the FA Cup in between as well. Teams can change.
Do you know what the Burnley fans were saying to us at the weekend? 2-1.
Tottenham get battered everywhere they go.
No. How shit must you be? We're winning at home.
And we were singing, how shit must you be? We're winning away.
Yeah, but do you know what the Tottenham fans sang back to Burnley fans?
No.
Don't think you're special. We lose every week.
Yeah, look. So I'm absolutely happy to say, yeah, I was ready to bomb Jared Bowen out. But since I made that statement, 2 strikers joined the club who've both bedded in pretty well. Tati better than Pablo, and we've won 2 games and have scored 5 goals across those 2 games all of a sudden, right? And it's a different team. And also Lucas Paqueta has disappeared. So things can happen in clubs, right? Would you have, I mean, Bruno Fernandes, yes, you would have considered because of his consistency. But looking at Manchester United now, after the change of manager, I've seen people considering like Bumo and Cunha and Fernandes or going all in on Manchester United with 3 United players. No one was doing that under Ruben Amorim. It's all right.
Ruben Amorim's not there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all right to change your opinion on what you see with your eyes when it changes. I'm just all for, yeah, do it. But I do think there is this malaise of frustration with getting players. And someone like a Salah, I looked at it and I was like, oh, he's still 14 million. If he was...
If he was not justifiable, is it?
I'm sorry.
It's like we're celebrating. He got an assist at the weekend, is what we're celebrating here, right?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, do you know what? Fair play, but you've done it and you've gone there. And in my mind, I thought it might be 11.5 or 12 million. Fine, fuck it. Take a punt on 11.5 or 12 million. Then I looked at the price. I was like, 14 million. Yeah, maybe not. But I think it's just interesting to think about. From people do struggle with this. Like, look at General, right? He's playing a whole season with no Salah, no Haaland. Some weeks do work really well, and I bet he has some incredible highs from that as well. We've got to find a bit of fun. But yeah, it was just an aside. Talk to me about Liverpool being rubbish and why you want to keep Ekitike.
Just on Salah, there is definitely a narrative here that this could build, though. So I would say if across the next 3 weeks or so, Haaland is, as he's been over the last 5 or 6, and quite poor from a fancy output perspective and also on the eye, and if Mo shows us what we know is still in there somewhere, then you'll hit game week 28-ish or so, knowing that City will probably blank in 31 if that's how it works out, and it will become a temptation to people. There is going to be a big temptation for Liverpool in game week 28. Forest and Wolves away. Sorry, it's Forest away 27. 28 to 31 is West Ham away. West Ham at home, sorry. Wolves away. Tottenham at home. Brighton away in a blank. Now, obviously, if you end up with Mo in 31, you probably will captain him at Brighton. Because it's the sort of team, I'd be stingy at Brighton. Like, it doesn't feel like that. You'd be like, yeah, fine, I'll go with Mo. I mean, Fernandes at Bournemouth might be the sort of alternative people look at. So 31 would be wide open. So once that's added in, and then if you look at Salah, well, hang on, West Ham, Wolves, Tottenham. Actually, I could captain him for 4 in a row here. That might be how it looks. Now, it's worth saying Liverpool will probably have last 16 of Champions League games in this period, right? So sitting in between those fixtures between 29-31, that might have an impact. They might also have an FA Cup 5th round game that might suddenly feel important because of consequence of the way their league season's gone, right? These things can't see at the moment. But yeah, I do think there's a narrative where it could build for Mo Salah. I think it's more likely that Dominic Szoboszlai will become popular again.
Okay.
Dominic Szoboszlai is right on radar as one of my potential midfield ones. Not because I'm that high on the next few games, but knowing I'll be very happy that he's sitting in their game with 28 onwards. 6.6 million is absolutely fine. It's worth saying that at the weekend was his first goal since game week 15. Like, it's not pulling up any particular trees. And presumably with Mo back, Mo now takes the pens off him as well, and some of the set piece stuff. But Szoboszlai at 6.6, I mean, you're saying to me now, right, forcing Salah or just put Szoboszlai in at 6.6 and he'll have a little share of stuff. I'm not forcing Salah in at this moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Similarly, I wouldn't be looking at defensive stuff at this moment. I'm sure many of you will have seen big links to Andy Robertson going to Tottenham over the last 3-4 days or so. The information we understand as of last night is that move is now off, is the understanding. Probably because Andy Robertson has realised he has a brain attached to the top of his head. I would assume that's the reason why. Arne Slot did flag that Milos Kerkez was in a red zone, i.e. we need to get him a break now. That will probably come against Karabakh, I would imagine, on Wednesday night. And I'm sure Robertson will probably start that game. Virgil van Dijk picked up his first DEFCON Suj since game week 15 at Leeds. And also his first goal of the season, finally, to return a 9-pointer. I did some investigating last week into where these DEFCONs had gone. And quite honestly, the simple truth to it, it's not all the reason, but teams are not playing as many direct balls against Liverpool as they were doing earlier in the season. I think that's a combination of Liverpool's press being both better and worse. i.e. time on the ball will go direct. When the press is actually coming, go a bit shorter. They're still not nowhere near their best. For Liverpool to have gone 5 games without a win with the fixtures they've got, it's pretty shy. I'm also not surprised that those DEFCONs came for Van Dijk at the weekend because Bournemouth play with high intensity and quick, and they're happy to go direct as well. Big result for Bournemouth. Can start looking upwards now. Some good fixtures. Liverpool, keep on radar, but I wouldn't be running after it this week, despite the fact it's a game at Anfield. And yes, I intend to keep Ekitike usage. It was a big shock to me that he didn't start. They got a great result in Marseille playing this system. They played a similar system against Bournemouth. I'm fairly certain that Ekitike is a better fit for this system than Gakpo. And I'm sure most Liverpool fans will tell you that they'd agree with that. There's also a consequence, honestly, with these slot rumours going round. If they do change manager, well, they've got one number 9 and he's available. Then what? Bang, boost, jump. Quite possibly. You would not be surprised if Liverpool changed manager and they went and won 6-7 games in a row, actually. It might be what they need. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there is obviously some rumours going around that I don't think we should be surprised if it does. Newcastle at home this week is a great fixture. Manchester City away the following week might be, might not be. Those fixtures afterwards till 31 are pretty good. The only reason I will sell Hugo Ekitike is if I become genuinely concerned he is no longer first choice. That is not my concern for the weekend.
Okay. All right, let's go to Sunday games, James. Let's go to Brentford 0, Forest 2.
Sorry, Buzz.
Just fucking get out of the way. Like, I had no joy from this game whatsoever. I know Brentford had quite a few big chances in the game. Could have scored themselves, but didn't. I really didn't see this one coming, if I'm honest with you. I thought Brentford, on the current run that they'd been on, would be able to do the business at home against Forest. It's quite the opposite. Didn't get on the score sheet, and Forest win. Even Jesus scored.
It's only Brentford's second home defeat this season. Man City, the only other side to win.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely brilliant result for Forest. And I think came at a really important time where frustration was beginning to build with how Sean Dyche's team are playing at the moment. And that's from within Forest supporters. But you remember that Forest under Sean Dyche will pick up results like this.
Yeah.
And why they'll probably be okay, because the spine of that team with Murillo, Anderson in front, is very, very good. The return of Sangare has been really important for them as well. It should not be a surprise to people that he's come back, played 2 games, and Nottingham Forest haven't conceded in them. He was outstanding before he went to AFCON. He's back alongside Anderson now. That's helpful. Ola Aina's return recently has been helpful. They've got the strongest back four on the pitch. They've got the strongest goalkeeper back in. I'm not a huge lover of him, but he's better than Victor John. And you've got that double pivot in front. Forest's problem is scoring goals. If Forest score goals between now and the end of this season, they will not go down. Their two forwards, their two number nines, have scored yesterday.
Yeah, I did. They haven't scored. I mean, okay, look, Awani hasn't played the minutes, so you can't say he hasn't scored because he hasn't played the minutes, right? But
then that's helpful
James.
now. Jesus has scored yesterday, I think only his second goal of the season. And now when Yi takes his goal really well for the second goal, quite what Michael Kyode's doing. He's sent himself for hot dog. No one else sent him for it. I'm not quite sure. But Awen Yi still takes it really well. That's a positive for them.
I'm not comfortable with statements like they'll be all right, because you've seen in this league that gaps can get closed.
No, I'm telling you, if they score
but
goals, they'll be all right, is what I'm telling you. They still need to do that. They've had a number of games where you've gone, I'm not sure about them offensively, quite clearly, right? They didn't score against Arsenal. The goals they scored against you is a flick on from a near post corner and a penalty, right? They scored a goal at Villa when they were already 3-0 down. They blanked at home to Everton. They lost 1-0 at Fulham, right? So they lost 3-0 at Everton before that. So, yeah, if Forest score goals, I mean, it's a big if, isn't it? If you score 2 goals every game between now and the end of the season, we'll
probably stay up as well. Yeah,
what I'm saying is, I think defensively, they are more than strong enough.
Yep.
They just need to have the bit at the top end. Because actually, although obviously drawing with Arsenal was a great result last week, when you're in that position, that's not to say they should beat Arsenal, but you need to win games. You can't just be drawing games. So this is a great result. Not many other teams have done it this season. Am I sitting there going to you, Forest definitely won't go down, which is what I told you in December? No, I don't feel like that, actually. Because I do think suddenly something happens. They've got games on Thursday night because of Europe, etc. They've got these playoff games that they're going to have to face now. Suddenly you go, Anderson, Sangari, Murillo, Milenkovic, imagine they all got injured together. I'd be like, they're fucked, mate. So circumstances can change. But yeah, at the moment, if Tottenham continues to be absolutely ridiculously stupid upstairs, Forest will highly likely finish above Tottenham. I'm not saying that for saying that. I'm telling you that's how I feel.
Okay. Thoughts on Brentford? I mean, you own Thiago right now. There's been little bits of interest there in Sade and maybe Nathan Collins and even Coyote with his massive lobs.
Do you remember all them people like, can you believe that James talked Suj out of getting Thiago? Bet they're not saying that this week.
Could Jared Bowen? Yeah,
exactly. No. Right. And you're not going to buy Thiago now, right? Villa away, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home. Yeah. You're going to buy any Brentford asset now at this point in time. Surely.
No.
But again, the 27-31 is decent. Home games with Brighton and Wolves, away games against Burnley, Bournemouth, Leeds. Right. For the offensive guys particularly, I think that's pretty good in there, right? So Sade, Thiago, he'll come back around. Utara maybe even as well. Utara didn't start. He came on. Mikel Damsgaard picked up a knee problem. Also, for anyone that's still on Sepp van den Berg, haven't got the information yet, but Christopher Jair came off with an ankle problem. So Sepp van den Berg might get minutes back. I'm going to presume if you're still sitting with him, you weren't going to start him in the next 3 anyway, but it might be very useful for you from 27 to 31. See what Keith Andrews says on that potential injury. Yeah, Brentford is, truthfully, it's a comeback and looking game with 27 or so, I think.
Alrighty,
I'm not selling Thiago.
It's not. You got value.
I've got too much value, and I definitely want him back in 3 weeks' time. So I'll either play him or leave him out over forthcoming weeks.
Yep. Palace 1, Chelsea 3. Decent away win for Chelsea. We're trying to maybe decipher and learn a little bit more about what we're going to get from Rossignol, though he did mix up the team again. Daniel Munoz back in the lineup for Palace didn't particularly help because they've conceded 3 goals here. You did say Lacroix might be a solution. I'm really interested in your opinion on that, as why, because literally getting no points out of him whatsoever right now. I'd rather go and get Chalobah than Lacroix or whatever. I know he's more expensive or what have you. But yeah, we've seen Fernandes play as a 10 here and Santos come in alongside Caicedo. Kind of thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I didn't find it. I'm not surprised because you know what I always say about going and playing at Palace. I didn't find anything that said to me these are clear and obvious patterns of how Chelsea are going to play under Rosenior. I would say I think Andre Santos's minutes might be more than what people expect moving forward. That would possibly make Enzo Fernandez a better fantasy asset moving forward, but then there is competition for places. And I was very much hoping that Cole Palmer would play in this game to give us a better understanding as well. So I watched the first hour of this. When it went 3-0, I turned over to Newcastle Villa because it's like there's nothing to learn here from this point. Chelsea got this game won. I think probably the striking thing that I would say in summary would be little less control. Not to say that they don't want to play football, they absolutely do. This idea that kind of after the Arsenal game that we're always going to play out short every time is non-existent as far as I can say. They're happy to go direct if necessary. And that might be Robert Sanchez, you're not ready to be playing short all the time. If you need to go long, go long. I think the number one takeaway from it was, and this could be good for fantasy, was that they're just a little bit quicker. They're happier to take the riskier pass a little bit more often to try and get their quick players away. And they're just a little bit more direct. I think they possibly had a bit more control under Maresca. They look like they're going to be a bit more direct. But style-wise, it's not wildly different. I'm just saying they're a bit more... That was a big frustration Chelsea fans had under Maresca, that perhaps it was like a pass too much, too often. Chelsea look like they're going to be a little bit riskier from that perspective at the top end and a bit quicker trying to get it into their front players. Which, when you've got players like Neto, Esteval, Garnacho, Gittins, why wouldn't you actually? It's quite logical, right? Love the two goals. I mean, Esteval, it's obviously he gets on the end of a bad pass back from Cambo, but he doesn't give Tyreek Mitchell a chance. Every touch he takes is away and away and away and away, and then a good strike at the end. Brilliant finish from him. And I love the second goal, actually. I think it's really clever movement from João Pedro and a really nice pass in behind from Esteval. Adam Wharton does not cover himself in any glory on that João Pedro goal at all. So easy for João Pedro to come back onto his left foot. Obviously, the handball, for me, shouldn't be a penalty, but I think Chelsea had won the game from that point anyway. Enzo is probably going to be on pens if Cole Palmer's not on the pitch. And Cole Palmer, we think he will play in Napoli on Wednesday. It's a big game for them. Afterwards, don't know. But I'll say what I normally say on this podcast. He's got a problem and he needs to get it fixed. And until he gets fixed, he's not going to be a fantasy asset. Now, with them next 4 games they've got, West Ham, Leeds, Burnley at home and Wolves away, you can't not look, can you? So at the moment, it feels to me that there are probably only 3 assets you can get. João Pedro.
Yep.
And if anyone goes there, same with Evan Nilsson, be prepared for the frustration that follows. And the big frustration might be with João Pedro that we don't even know that he's got favouritism over Liam Delap. We don't know it.
Yeah.
We just don't know it. You can look at the weekend, we won't get dropped. Yeah, but Chelsea's bigger games are going to be in the midweeks. Champions League this week. Even if they win, they might drop out of the top 8 because there's a number of teams behind them very close on goal difference who've got much better fixtures than Chelsea. Like Barcelona have got like Copenhagen at home, City have got Galatasaray at home. Chelsea could win 1-0 and those 2 teams might jump them. That's not impossible this week. If they win, they probably will finish top 8. If they don't, they're going to have these playoff games.
Yep.
Now, whoever they play in the playoff, they'll probably beat. Then they're going to have last 16 games. They've also got this second leg with Arsenal. So it's all well and good looking at them fixtures in the Premier League and going, oh, that's great. Yeah, but there's a bigger picture here. And the likes of Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, even Trevor Chalobah, if they're all part of Chelsea's best 11, do we think that they're playing every league game? It's fine to buy them. I might do the same, but I don't think we can look at it and go, this is okay. You know, these nailed. Yeah, they're nailed. They're part of their best 11, but their best 11 might get used in midweeks quite a lot. Also, Leeds at home is 3 days after Wolves away in the league. So just naturally across those 2 games, you might get some rotation. So I'd just be aware of that. I think João Pedro, I don't mind. Like from a fixture perspective, I don't mind. If you go there, you're going to get the Gameweek 28 and you're going to be looking at people like Thiago or Jimenez. That's a consequence. If you go Enzo Fernandez and you don't have Harry Wilson, you're going to look at that around about 28. Him or Dominic Szoboszlai, these players are going to appeal. If you go for Chalobah, the likes of Anderson, Collins, maybe Van Dijk or Frimpong, these guys are going to appeal when you get to 28. So for me, Chelsea is the obvious team to invest in, but I know it might be for 4 weeks only. And I don't know how many starts I'm getting across 4 weeks. Trevor Chalobah, by the way, Suj.
Yes.
He didn't start at home to Aston Villa, which was a game they lost in game week 18. Now, since they lost at Leeds in 14, their only other defeat they've had was at Fulham in game week 21. And obviously, Chelsea had an early red card in that game from Marc Cucurella. In that fixture, since game week 14 at Leeds, Trevor Chalobah has been on an absolute mission on DEFCONs, mate.
Okay.
He's not smashing it, I wouldn't say. But since that defeat at Leeds, in the games that he's played in, his DEFCON returns have been 11, 13, 10, 8, 10, 12, 11, 14. Obviously, very importantly, there were only 2 games there under Liam Rosenior. He's hit DEFCON in both of them. He's very justifiable as a 5.6 asset. Don't try and look for the saving. I can't promise you that he's going to play all the league games, but Wesley Fofana definitely won't. Tosin Adarabioyo won't. Benoit Badiashile won't. None of them are going to be worth the saving. Cucurella is up more. Reece James, is going to get protected, but also still has favouritism. You're going to bank that Gusto's going to play every league game. You can't. So Sanchez in goal is fine. Chalobah in defence is fine. Midfield, those wingers I've mentioned, I think Enzo is probably the one to get. Anything else is a bit punty. Anyone who owns João Pedro would warn people about him. I think it's fine. But I do think ultimately you'll get to 28 and want to move it on probably. Palace. Good fixtures, same thing.
Unhappy manager.
I know. Forest away. Brighton away. Burnley, Wolves at home. United away. Tottenham away. And then Leeds at home. And it's probable blank. That's the big problem here. The probable blank, right? They're scheduled to play Manchester City in game week 31. Lacroix interests me, Suj. Daniel Munoz is back. That naturally interests. Ismail Assar is back. That creates interest. Jean-Philippe Mateta, wouldn't be surprised if he's not a Crystal Palace player in 8 days' time. Palace will also probably add something. They've got to, really, in this transfer window. So I think if you can wait on Palace, probably do so. And Rory McLaughlin will be on COTC next week ahead of game week 25. So I don't think Palace are going to offer me the solution this week. As it stands now, with the team Palace have got at this moment, there's every chance they'll get beat at Forest. But then also the positive of that is going to drag Palace into this as well.
Well, that's the other thing, yeah, because they're below you in the league as it stands right now, and that is really surprising.
Only on goal difference. They won't be for long.
Below is below. If that was the end of the season, they'd be going down on you.
I'm not concerned about Palace. Chances are, worst case, they'll take 4 points from Burnley, Wolves at home in 26-27. So by which point they're on 32 points from 27 played. Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about them. Whereas my team might still be stuck on 28. It's quite conceivable. So I don't have huge concerns about Palace from that perspective. I think it feels like we're kind of running week to week on Oliver Glasner at the moment. That probably gives us enough reason not to invest in them at this moment. Let's see how we sit with them once the window closes.
If he's not gone by the end of the transfer window and they're relatively safe, then I also don't think he's going to end up going.
I didn't see a team yesterday where I'd go to have given up on their manager. Actually, in seriousness, first half was a pretty even game. I mean, Mateta's had an unbelievable chance at 0-0 that he should score. He loves a big chance miss, Mateta. He can't help it, can he?
No.
Yeah, look, if they go 1-0 up, then suddenly that becomes a really rough game. Good result for Chelsea yesterday. Always happy when you win now.
Newcastle 0, Aston Villa 2, James. I didn't get to watch as much of this as I would have liked. You watched the last half an hour. Morgan Rogers with an assist. Ollie Watkins gets on the score sheet, though. Newcastle did have some chances as well, from what I've seen.
They did, and I saw them back later last night. I mean, Martinez made one particularly very good save in the first half. But my feeling watching the last half hour was that I didn't think Newcastle were going to score, really.
Okay.
I know a few of our Newcastle patrons are pretty frustrated at the moment and kind of felt that they could have played all day and wouldn't have scored. But they did have chances early in the game. Tonali, and again, kind of the same as Mateta. Tonali's, wasn't like a sitter miss, but he's had a great chance. Good save from Martinez. If he scores and they're 1-0 up, then you're at St James's. Is a very difficult place to go under that circumstance. It's a great result for Villa. Another long distance goal, but also a very big high XG chance finished by Ollie Watkins for the second goal as well.
Yeah.
What I saw of it, that probably just about deserved it from me. Team's quite settled. We think that there'll probably be an announcement about Tammy Abraham today.
Okay.
As a solution for them to give obviously Watkins competition up front. Watkins has 7 in 10, maybe. But that is skewed a little bit by the fact he scored twice at Brighton and twice at Chelsea. And he scored at Newcastle. So I don't know what you take of that. He scored in some fairly tough away games recently. Yep. Make of that what you will. We know that he thrives more on space. Abraham isn't coming there just to sit on the bench every week. Okay, he's gonna take Watkins minutes in the same way Marlon was taking.
Well, I was going to say he's a Marlon replacement, and Marlon took some, but I wouldn't say he took a lot.
No, but
not enough.
Marlon also could play wide. Tammy Abraham's not going to play wide. He's a 9.
Is that a permanent deal that they're getting him on? Do you know?
I want to say I think so, but please don't quote me on that.
All right.
It's coming from Besiktas. I think so.
Okay.
So that will give competition. Rodgers is indestructible. It was a moment he took a heavy knock in the second half, and it was don't need that. And then you remember this guy is exactly that. So. Yeah, he'll keep outperforming the data numbers because he's a very good player. The fixtures coming up are great. Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton at home, Leeds at home, Wolves away, Chelsea at home. It's still pretty reasonable. Again, that might land around Chelsea having last 16 Champions League. Manchester United away, but then very importantly, West Ham at home in the blank. If I was moving someone on this week who I didn't want in midfield, and I didn't own Morgan Rodgers, honestly, I'd be getting on with that. I realise that it will be, he keeps outperforming the data and stuff. I get that. There are good fixtures here. They cocked it up against Everton last week. Had they won that game, and Everton deserved their victory, I think, then they'd be 1 point behind. The opportunity is still there. The other two around them are slipping up. Villa have had one bad result, really, against Everton. That was it. These fixtures coming up are good. Right, if they could take maximum points from their next 5 before they play Chelsea in 29, they're going to smell an opportunity. And I've experienced this with my team where once you get on a wave, do you know what? You're pretty hard to stop. I would be looking at, if I didn't own Morgan Rodgers, there's no doubt I'd be buying him this week. I'm pleased that he's already sitting in there. Defensively, I think that there's considerations as well. But the problem is never any DEFCONs with them, ever. And they do seem to keep clean sheets at times where maybe we wouldn't expect it, like this sort of game.
Yeah.
If you said to me now, what do you think Villa against Brentford at the weekend? I'd say, probably like 2-1 Villa, 3-1 Villa. They always feel more like that. Matty Cash is largely going to be quite good for minutes. We know that. Ezri Konsa, you know what you're going to get. He's 4.4. But the reality is, Ezri Konsa, times he's picked up, I'm just trying to look if he's had a double-digit haul all season. No, he's hit 8 once or twice. It's nothing. No attacking returns. Not even 1 in terms of XGI this season. So you probably do, because Cash will at least offer you some of that. You probably do pay extra for Matty Cash where you can, rather than Ezri Konsa. And this is the thing, Suj. I'm looking for solutions to run me all the way through these weeks. If it wasn't for DEFCON, I'd buy a Villa player.
Okay.
But because of that in the game, I don't think they're worth it.
Will we get to a point where they'll prioritise weekends over midweek even, do you think, if they're close enough in the title race?
If they've got a genuine chance to win the title, that's a potentially once in... However, I realise it's been a long time since Villa have won any trophy. But yes, I think you'd have to. We had that the year we finished, I was going to say second to Leicester, we finished third in the two-horse race. Suddenly we were in a title race, just suddenly, mainly because of slip-ups from others. we had Dortmund in the last 16 in the UEFA Cup, as it was, or the Europa League. And Pochettino played pretty much like a second string team away to Dortmund, got absolutely slaughtered, lost 3-0. But it was justifiable based on the fact that it gave us a chance in the league. Obviously, ultimately didn't win anything in the end. But it might be that Villa make that call. It's different now, isn't it? Because you got so many squad players. Villa in the Europa League could play like Mings and Lindelof, right? And then play Torres and Konsa in the league. The squads are deeper now than what they were even, say, 10 years or so ago. But you need to have a fit squad to be able to do it. So if they had injuries, like say like Kamara is a big miss, and that's something I think that's the most impressive thing actually, the weekend result. Give them a lot of confidence they've done that without Kamara, because their results without him are not good. You know who else has bad results when someone's missing? It's Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes. Have not lost any game he ain't played since he joined.
They've not lost a game that he's played since he joined.
They've not won a game.
They've not won a game that he hasn't played in.
It's only 9 games, admittedly.
But still significant enough of a stat, mate. Yeah.
He's their star player. He's the one player you'd look at in that team and think, absolutely, obviously, if the whole squad was up for sale, that there would be a queue around Europe to go and buy him. And he's a big miss, without a doubt. You'll put in, with respect, Willox or Ramsey's in the team or something like that instead. It's not quite the same. Obviously, look, Lewis Miley in the team has been fantastic recently, and I think has been a bright spot over a period where Newcastle have largely struggled. I think Visser, we have to acknowledge, has missed a huge part of the season, and players generally struggle when they've not had a proper pre-season. But he's no Isak. I'm sure Newcastle fans don't want to hear that, but that's a reality. And Voltemade is a player that you need to play towards his strengths. Anthony Gordon hasn't scored a league goal from outside, away from the penalty spot since January. That continues.
Yeah, it's coming up to be a year now, or it's gone over a year now.
Harvey Barnes will get goals, but he won't get as many from the right as he'll get from the left. He's playing on the right to accommodate Gordon on the left. Jacob Murphy is a creative miss for them, by the way, when he's not available. Fullbacks, big issue. When Hall and Livramento are both available, I think they're a very good side. Miss either part of it, problem. Newcastle have a massive game at Paris Saint-Germain, the Champions League on Wednesday. That is not going to be helpful for them then going to Liverpool on Saturday. Liverpool play with intensity. Please, Liverpool play with intensity. Liverpool play with intensity on Saturday should have way too much for Newcastle 3 days after playing PSG. Because they're going to have to run around after it in Paris, no doubt. So, yeah, no, I'm not selling Ekiteke this week, Suj.
All right. Quite a few of the questions that we had in on Twitter were Ekiteke related. So I think that answers it quite well for any on the fence on that.
The Newcastle decision, I've obviously got Guimaraes and Chow. Guimaraes, I never thought was going to play this weekend. There's 2 big games this week. I'm sure we'll get some more information. If he's going to be back, say for Liverpool, I might keep him because of the Brentford Tottenham couple afterwards. I think that's still all right. Okay, Everton at home 28. Okay, covers the blank all right. And it might just save me a transfer on my travels where I can afford to maybe rotate more than actually sell. So I'm not in a rush to do that. O'Reilly feels like a bigger problem for me than Chow. And that's partly because I can hide Chow easily this week away to Liverpool. I can hide him at Man City in game week 27. And the other games, I'm not fussed about playing him. It's fine. So, but I think otherwise, yeah, if you've got Newcastle assets, in most scenarios, you are probably looking to move on or hide at this moment.
Let's wrap by talking about the last game, James. And I'm going to be pulling up some questions that we're going to cover off on Twitter for as well, X. It hasn't been called Twitter for a long time, is it? The big game of the weekend, where you're talking about slip-ups. If the others slip up, Villa will feel like they have a chance. Well, Arsenal losing at home to Manchester United. This record for Michael Carrick continues. I think each game that passes and each day that passes, it's like it's probably going to end up there permanently, isn't he? But let's wait and see.
Well, if they keep winning football matches like this, they'll have to give it.
It's inevitable.
Is the reality?
Well, that's what happened with Ole at the end of the day.
Well, if he's walked in the door and they've just beat, and I think deserve to beat, the 2 best teams in the league. Mm-hmm. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Got themselves into the top 4. I think we've all thought at the start of the season that they would end up in the top 4 because they didn't have any other distractions, or at least they had a very good chance of getting into the top 4.
Hold up. I told Az I thought top 5. I said him that in September. He thought I'd lost my mind. Az, clip that up for us, mate. That'll make a good black box short. Look, the thing is for United, though, yes, these great results. But if the draw at home to Fulham and draw at home to Tottenham, it very quickly changed where he's not the right guy. Does that make sense? Right,
Absolutely.
you've got to follow it
Absolutely.
up now. And for United, with no distractions in terms of other cup competitions, there is not an excuse. Manchester United, absolutely from here, no one should be looking at them as an underdog. They should finish top 5 from here.
I
Whereas
talked to
Chelsea and Liverpool got other commitments.
David Hunter, obviously, who does the Weekender with you, part of our crew, bought Dorgu the other week, and kind of felt a bit impulsive on Dorgu because of the price rise. But when we talked about it on the differential show on Friday, it really was about what it could potentially be, right? He had the ceiling of it, and look, he scored again, man. So he's up to 4.4 now. Where he was 4.2, it was a very easy. Just hide it. 4.4 is a different conversation, though, I do feel.
Yes, it is and it isn't. I have to say, like I'd said after the City game, look, this might be something we just get for City and Arsenal, and then it might change afterwards. Obviously, he's got this stunning goal yesterday, and you're looking at it and thinking, and actually, he's been a threat again. You're thinking, I'm not sure he can take him out of the team. Like it felt like it changed watching it yesterday. I'm not sure if he can take him out, or does he even look at it, because clearly he's more adventurous than what Amrin was. Does he even look at it and go, well, I'll play him at left back, and if I want to get Cunha in the team, like might he do something like that? Now, what I would urge people to do is, look, he went up in price last night. Those who've done it. And those who are on will be very happy, by the way, moving on. He's very much under consideration for me now, because that yesterday changed for me on I don't think you can take him out of the team. There'll be an uproar if you do. He looks very good. He obviously did clutch his hamstring before he went off. The word is cramp. Wait and see.
Yep.
You can just get cramp in it. But he did do, that classic kind of reach for it really quickly. He did do that, but looked okay. He was walking off. And it could have been that he's just felt it and clutched it and it's okay. But please wait for more information later in the week before you invest. He's not the only United defender on radar for me. Harry Maguire is 4.3. Defcon yesterday, obviously, look, until these last 2 games, he hasn't played since, I don't know when, Suj. Game week 11 at Tottenham was the last time he'd played. For him to put in those 2 performances, coming straight back in the team after that long, I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday, Harry Maguire. I thought his mate next to him, Lisandro Martinez, was good as well. I think they complement each other really well. Maguire is someone who's capable of Defcons. And you know what else he's very capable of? He's United's best vet from set plays, isn't he?
Slabhead.
And at 4.3, I'm fairly secure on him, I think, moving forward. Now, I cannot say...
Was that what price he is?
Maguire's 4.3, yeah.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't even think to look, and that's
all the
cheap.
attention would be on Dorgu. Why would you? He hasn't played since game week 11. Right? And also, United until last week had kept, I don't know, like 1 clean sheet all season. Maybe him being absent part. And I know he's Marmite, Harry Maguire, and he might get exposed more the more offensive United are against better opponents. I realise all these sort of things. I don't know, man. If I'm looking at him carrying through the blank with some pretty good fixtures coming up at 4.3, the difference between him and Dorgu is I know what I get from Maguire. It might not be as exciting, but I know what I'm getting. If he's fit, he's going to play now. Whereas
you can hide him.
With Dorgu, this is the problem. It's like, I totally agree that it's like, oh, this is really exciting. But if I go Dorgu, I need him to play in game with 31. I don't need him to be, is he going to, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Harry Maguire might be getting overlooked here, and I would go Maguire over Martinez is like 0.5 more. So that's not to say I won't go Dorgu, by the way. He's like, am I okay with this risk or not? And if Michael Carrick says, yeah, he's fine, he's in the team tomorrow on Friday, it's still going to appeal very much. I'm saying I think there's a good alternative there with Harry Maguire. Bruno Fernandes is now up to 9.4. Assist yesterday, and his role in it is very good, but Patrick Dorgu for the strike, I think, very good. There's no reason not to buy Fernandes now. I think there was a good reason for many people not to buy last week, and I still agree with that. But there isn't much reason not to buy him now. I wouldn't get sucked into buying Bumo over him. You want to buy Bumo with him? Buy Bumo with him. Bumo, in terms of price, is appealing, 8.3. It's obviously 19 points across the 2 games. He obviously also had not played for a while in the league because of AFCON. I wouldn't judge anything on what's happened prior in terms of Ruben Amorim. We're looking at Manchester United players here based off the last 2 games. Everything beforehand is completely irrelevant. Last 2 games, he's obviously played as the number 9. What we need to ask ourselves is, does this continue or not? And even if it does
the performances and the results for Manchester United, or does the team formation and the players he's picking continue?
It's easy for me it's easy for me to look at Maguire and go, Maguire and Martinez now have a relationship over the last 2 games. They're now playing a back 4. This will stick. Do I deem, I don't know, maybe it's an overthinking. Do I deem that Matthias de Ligt might be a big threat to Harry Maguire? I guess he could be, in fairness. And maybe you could look at that and go, I haven't got the information yet of de Ligt versus Maguire. Maybe that would be a good reason to ignore Maguire, therefore, right? Up front, I've got Bumo in terms of information versus the 2 best teams in the league. Doesn't tell me what happens to Sesko and Cunha for better fixtures coming up. Does Bumo go back right and take Diallo out the team? Does Bumo play a different role? Does Bumo stay as the 9?
It's only a couple of weeks ago, Sesko scored a couple of goals, right? So,
yeah, but clearly, I would say on that, I would say Carrick hasn't favoured Sesko. So, like, Sesko wasn't used first at Manchester City, and he wasn't used till late on yesterday, and might not have been, by the way, if Dorgu hadn't got injured. It might not have been used yesterday either. So Cunha's had favouritism to be used first. Praise to Matthias Cunha as well, because in the 2 games he hasn't come on and sulked about the fact he hasn't been in the team. He's had a big impact on both of those games. The winning goal is brilliant. Also the assist for Dorgu in the Manchester derby. There are questions there that I can't know if what happens next is the same as what we're saying. Now, my instinct would be that as it stands right now, if everyone's fit, he'll pick the same team against Fulham. It's just a reward.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't go well, is that then something different? Everyone will go to Old Trafford thinking they're beating Fulham at the weekend. Fulham are... It's not the best opponent to play against, right? They'll be well-drilled Marco Silva. So I just have an awareness. I think Fernandes is an absolute given. The rest, there's question marks. Even that on Maguire is true. De Ligt could be a... I would have nothing to know if Matthias de Ligt's got favouritism over Harry Maguire. And I would imagine he's probably one of those 2 rather than Martinez. I wouldn't go for Martinez.
Arsenal, James. I mean, so many of us own 2 at least, and maybe 3. We're not. I'm no intention to sell them. It's bad day at the office, but they can just as easily turn it around next weekend, and I'm sticking with them for now. I mean, if that goal could have been given to Timber, as it could have been easily Timbers, and suddenly, whilst there's no returns, there's some points there that you think, right, well, they lost, but I've got some points, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, if Zubimendi doesn't make the decision he makes at 1-0, maybe they end up with a clean shape. Ultimately, they've conceded 3 goals, 2 from long distance. Last time Arsenal conceded 2 goals from outside the box in a Premier League game was, Suj? 4-4 draw with Tottenham in 2008, for your information.
I think it was in a draw against you lot in 2008, James. Was it a 4-4?
Yeah. Oh, it was 4-4, yeah. Do you remember the 2 players scored from outside the box?
Yes.
Go on. You must remember
2008. Luka Modric.
No, he hit the post, otherwise it would have been 3. Lennon scored from the rebound.
Okay. Berbatov.
No, I'll put you out your misery. Jermaine Gina scored, and David. You must remember David Bentley's goal, no?
Yeah. I saw him prancing around at the.
He was in the ground, the other week.
A Dortmund game, was it? Not Dortmund, Leverkusen.
Yeah. In any case, look, it could have been different. I think no sweat on Arsenal assets. Fixture's still good, and also, of course, we don't know yet, but you may get a double game week as quickly as game week 26, right? Mm-hmm. I think you might get something provisionally this week. I thought it could have been as early as Friday, right? But I don't think it matters, because I don't think it's particularly changing people's attitudes towards Arsenal players. Oh, there's an extra fixture with Wolves I must buy, because I still think if you've only got 2, you're thinking about the 3rd anyway.
Yeah,
it's still the best team in the league. That yesterday doesn't particularly change that. Yeah. I think every team that goes on to win the title has a blip at some point. Liverpool kind of had it about March time last year. I think Arsenal, in terms of league results, are kind of having it at the moment. It's where you can easily look at the league results though and forget that they got 4 at Portsmouth, they won 3-2 at Chelsea, and they won 3-1 at Inter Milan, right? It's just the last 3 league results look bad, 2 points from 3. That shouldn't really happen. Liverpool didn't go 3 games without winning last season until they'd pretty much won the title, right? So that's going to make people nervous around Arsenal. And I think the consequence of the first goal made everyone a bit nervous. After the first goal, United had a few decent moments in that kind of little period in between. But I don't think that's uncommon for Arsenal once they get in front. So, okay, we're not going to allow these speedsters like Bumo and Dorgu to particularly have much space in behind. I think the manner of the goal caused Arsenal a real problem yesterday. So they were having problems with the rotation to try and play out. And I think like Bruno Fernandes is an exceptional presser. We know how good he is with the ball, but he's an exceptional presser as well. And Arsenal was struggling to play out. And I think Saliba plays his pass to Zubimendi a bit quicker than what he's expecting. And Zubimendi is a very unique player in the sense he's got awareness of what he wants to do on the ball. And I think he decided he was going to go back to Raya before the pass had even come. The pass then comes quicker than he imagines. At that point, he's got to like control it and just let it come across his body and carry out into a fullback position. You cannot play it back at that. But I think he's already made that decision in his mind. I was watching Adam Wharton a lot yesterday and thinking about he already knows what he's doing before the ball arrives. And I think you would expect that with Zubimendi as well. He doesn't adjust. The pass comes fast. There's nothing wrong with the pass because Zubimendi's almost saying, I'm going to pass this to you fast so you can step away. But Zubimendi's already decided he's going to go back. The manner of that goal then causes a bit of panic because Arsenal fans would obviously trust the way their team defends. When you concede a goal like that that looks more akin to being at White Hart Lane rather than at the Emirates, it causes nervousness around the stadium. And you could feel that watching the game, almost like a desperation to get something out of the result. I think at most... probably at 2-2, Arsenal fans would have been thinking, go and win. But they'd probably been, well, at least we got something out of that. Because I think there'd have been real nerves on that yesterday. And truthfully, I think they're comfortably the best team in this league. At 2-1, I don't think they were going to score yesterday. I really thought United are really comfortable here. They're struggling. They score a set-piece goal because that's what they are. They're very, very good at it.
Yep.
And I'm not going to bullshit you. I've not had much joy in football recently. I absolutely shouted goal when Cunha scored. Yeah, that needed to be done. It was a brilliant and deserved result for Manchester United. What's important for Arsenal in seriousness is now how they respond. Leeds away is not the sort of fixture you'd ask for. If they don't win that, and if City go to Tottenham, which I'm sure they will, and win on Sunday, then the nerves might kick in a bit. So they've just got to respond now and try and be professional about it. I thought Arteta spoke well after the game. There's a number of players there that for fantasy, I mean, who's this highest scorer in the league?
Arsenal's.
Is it Gyökeres? Yeah, who's their highest scorer in the league? I don't even know.
That's a great question, James. I'm going to have a look for you right now. I reckon Trossard's
it's probably Gyökeres, isn't it?
Goals scored. It is not, James. It is joint. It's Gyökeres and Trossard. 5 goals each. Saka 4, Rice 4, Marino 4, Ez 4, 3 of which were in one game.
Let's acknowledge that there are
Gabriel,
a lot of players,
3.
Bukayo Saka included, who's obviously missed a significant period through injury this season, right? But that's low, isn't it? And this is why, for me, like they spread the goals around, they always do. For me, double defence still the way forward. I definitely look at yesterday and think, oh my God, I need to sell my Arsenal assets. Not at all. I'm only thinking about which one between Gabriel and Rice am I going to captain if they have the double in 26. I think same for me. And Rice is then the easy alternative because of the all-round way that he picks up points. In terms of DEFCONs or assists or set pieces or whatever else. So I'm with you on the double defence. Gabriel, Timber, Rice. If we got to the end of the season, James, and those are still my 3 Arsenal, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah, good. Alrighty, cool. That's a wrap on the games, James. Do you want to cover off some questions that we've had in on? Let me just do context. Should have done.
Yeah, we should have done that at the beginning. Yeah, my bad.
I know we haven't spoken much about Gameweek 24 wildcard, and I know a number of you are going to be on it. I wish you the very best of luck on that strategy. We're going to cover off some stuff for that tomorrow. Little look at some players of interest in a bit more detail. And also, very importantly, I think how to manage at some point, if you're in wildcard now, there's a problem that's probably going to hit you at some point. How potentially to manage that period. Clash of Correspondence Wednesday's Chelsea versus West Ham. I feel that was a certainty I was going to have Gary on this week. So that's with Gary Mantle, Chris Stone. We'll get Gary's view in terms of what he thinks about Chelsea assets moving forward over this forthcoming period. And obviously your team, Suj, a couple of good results. Chris should be in better spirits, no doubt. Ask James Thursday. I can't tell you what time yet. It's estimated for somewhere between 4 and 5 p.m. I will be coming back from Frankfurt and doing that stream when I get back from Frankfurt. The weekend with myself and David on Fridays. Plenty more on Patreon. Podcasts this week are Q&A today, Tottenham tomorrow, UCL Fantasy Match Day 8 preview on Wednesday. Got a quiz out on Thursday. Brilliantly done. Ryan Quinn puts me into head-to-head against Angus McPhail. And you can all guess. You can guess what the result of that was. Without giving any spoilers away.
You are very, very, very knowledgeable, but if there was a betting market on it, I'm afraid I'd be betting on Angus.
People who think I'm Rain Man have never met Angus, I think, unfortunately. Yeah. And Friday will be our Gameweek 24 preview differential show. Plenty more advanced here as well. Got a Zoom call with me later today. Got a couple of away days, Burnley, Frankfurt later in the week. Team news stream on Friday. Slack stories, midweek dilemmas, lots going on as per usual. www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. You can, if you ever want to see what the content schedule looks like, by the way, hit the link in the bio.
Yeah, indeed. You can just become a free member and you'll get access to bits and pieces as well. So many other benefits as being part of our Patreon community. We'd love to have you over there. Right. Quite a few Ekatike questions. We've covered him off quite well. Jim wants to know if there are any...
Just add on Ekatike. I do think I'm in a minority. I think most are going to sell.
Yeah. I mean, I may sell, James, but let's say, for example, let me give you a three transfer move. Ekatike, Xhaka, Foden to Bruno Fernandes, Morgan Rogers, and Brian Brobby.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, so obviously the Ekatike to Brobby funds the other moves. Any other Bournemouth midfielders to consider, says Jim? Otherwise, is it just Evan Nielsen for the upcoming fixtures?
I want to see what happens with Ryan. Genuinely. Okay. Wouldn't chase Adley. No, I mean, Krupi, we didn't speak about Krupi, but Krupi is obviously a very good asset as well if people want to find money. Minutes, the closer we get to the window closing, the more it looks like his minutes might be more and more secure, actually. No, I think what that would be with the midfielders would be almost, I want to invest in it because they've got good fixtures and I like them. They score quite a few goals, but not quite knowing where they come from. That might also be what pushes a move to Evan Nielsen, because I think had Semenyo and Tavernier still been there, people wouldn't actually be looking at Evan Nielsen. And I understand it's fine. You're now going, oh shit, he's got to step up. He could be like the new talisman for them in forthcoming weeks. I get it.
Potter Out says, he left a little while ago, by the way. Change your name. Change your name on social media. Wants to know, when is it time to give up? It isn't. There's still ages to go. 15 games to go.
No.
Keep it moving.
But if you're not enjoying it, stop playing. It's that. It's the truth.
Owen, Mr. Sinclair, says, who's the better defender to buy? Chalobah or Daniel Munoz?
It's probably Chalobah without knowing strategy as well. Think of this logically. If you go Munoz and you want to run through 31, if you've got double Arsenal defence as well, right, you're knackered. You're down to 2 defenders already in 31. Munoz, to be worthwhile, he's going to have to be scoring goals fairly regularly. I think. Chalobah, as we've said, like, he really is hitting it on DEFCONs at the moment. Now, Munoz, minutes-wise, is way more secure. And actually, all the way till 30, Palace's fixtures are probably better than, say, Chelsea got Arsenal away 28, Villa away 29. But Chalobah's of more use to you in 31, just by virtue of having a fixture away to Everton. Which sort of game, could you see Chelsea winning 1-2-0 at Everton? Yeah, it's feasible. It's fine. We have Everton attacking assets. Probably not, unless you've got Ellerman and Dyer. So, yeah, probably Chalobah at this moment. And also, there's no alternative within Chelsea. Whereas within Palace, you've got Chris Richards who with Gay gone is even more secure for minutes moving forward now, you would think, who's so much cheaper that you can look at and say, I'll play when I want or leave when I want. He's also still a consideration for me.
Okay. Last but not least, James, because we covered up a lot of the other stuff, Matt wants to know, the American Super Bowl is coming up. I didn't know. It feels like it's already there. It was recently, but maybe not. People tend to hold watch parties for it. Have you ever been to one, and what was it like? So the answer is no and no. Yeah, I don't understand the rules. I don't have any desire to want to go to a watch party. You?
This sort of question comes up every year, and I'll tell people, because people always want to try and convince me. All right, you've got no chance. If you want to do it, you want to enjoy it, it's your thing. Enjoy it. That's great. I'll wash my hair twice.
Okay. And on that note, James,
I haven't really got any, as you can all see.
If you're listening to the audio, James is not blessed in the hair follicle department.
How long is it on for? About 6 hours.
It's unknown. That's the thing. It's unknown.
I would rather get in the shower, dry myself, get in the shower, dry myself on repeat for the whole time that it's on, I think.
Okay. Right. Listeners, thank you so much for lending us your ears. Have a fantastic weekend. If you're watching the game tonight, enjoy it. And we'll be back at you over the course of the week. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Very importantly, play it your way. Smash a like, hit the sub, cue music, please, man child.